And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Sunday, and you know what that means? It's time for weekly purchases, that time of the week where we investigate what came through the door via DHL, Amazon, UPS, United States Postal Service, FedEx, oh my gosh, and of course that old outlaw Waylon Jennings and FedEx. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? About 5 packages with different issues over the last week. So FedEx, hard times, disappointment over there. I don't know what's going on. I'm definitely not buying stock in FedEx if that's even possible at this point. But man, FedEx continue to get after me every single day, it seems like. But we are here for weekly purchases once again. A banner week, a pretty decent haul this week. Compared to last week, though, a lot smaller. You guys saw last week's video, hopefully. The return from San Diego Comic-Con. We'll never financially recover. I know we're all in the same boat here. Still got a ton of stuff to unbox. I'm trying to get around to it. 4 videos a day. That's a lot of work, as you guys can imagine, and there's so much stuff to get to. It's just absolutely wild. That's where the Patreon comes in. A lot of that stuff you're going to get weeks and months ahead over there. Check that out. More on that here in a second. But a busy week following San Diego Comic-Con week as well. So a lot of stuff through the door this week, and a lot of stuff to come next week as well, because FedEx, like I said, delaying a bunch of stuff. What are they doing? I have no idea. But a lot going on this week in weekly purchases. And I guess we'll start weekly purchases off, of course. Well, first we'll say thank you to everybody. You hit 43,000 subscribers this week on the channel, so I do owe you another top 10 list. We'll do that probably this Thursday, so look forward to that on the channel. Of course, we know every milestone 1,000, we're doing a special top 10 on the channel every single Thursday. We usually do a top 5. So 43,000 subscribers. Appreciate everybody's support. The march to 50 rolls on. Can we hit 50,000 subscribers? Tell a friend. There you go. How about that? Make sure you subscribe to this very YouTube channel. It does mean a lot, of course. Always means a lot when you give the old thumbs up as well. Thumbs down, not so much. Doesn't mean a lot, of course, but a thumbs up always means a lot. Dangerously close to 5,000 subscribers over on Kyle Peterson 2.0. I do actually get messages every once in a while. Man, you get all that McFarlane stuff. You get some of this and that, and a little bit of the other in your weekly purchases. How come you don't unbox that on the channel? Well, I have another YouTube channel. I unbox a lot of stuff over there. A lot of Turtles, a lot of McFarlane, a little points in between. That new Chester Cheetah, Flaming Hot Chester Cheeto, Flaming Hot Cheetos. There we go. I got it right there. I unboxed that one, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Unboxed it on Kyle Peterson 2.0 this week. Somebody asked me just the other day, where's that video? When are you going to put it up? Well, it's over on my other channel. Make sure you do subscribe. So make sure you remember there's 2 YouTube channels going on right now. There's also 2 giveaways going on right now. It is Patreon time. Of course, Patreon giveaway every month. We do a Patreon giveaway. This month, 2 giveaways going on. Novun Lean from Cosmic Legions. That is the traditional Patreon giveaway for the month of August here. So if you're looking to live that Legion life like I'm trying to do, you can get this as part of the Patreon giveaway. Head to the link in the description below, as I always say. That's the traditional one. However, once again, we're going to do a new giveaway. This is Dr. Britt Baker, Target exclusive. This will be open to anybody that signs up for the Patreon, any tier. Where this is limited tiers, this is any tier this month, including the Legacy Patreon people. Get an opportunity to get this Dr. Britt Baker. So check out the Patreon, link in the description below. Support the channel, all kinds of stuff over there. Early videos from both YouTube channels, all the glamour shots, a monthly Q&A, of course the giveaways, a weekly pizza review, dog stuff, and all points in between. It's all going down over there on the old Patreon. Appreciate the support over there. It does mean a lot, as you can imagine. So there it is. That's a little bit of housekeeping. But this week, we also have a special guest. Well, maybe not a guest, but we do got a special sponsor for weekly purchases. And once again, it's our old friend, Jaleel White. You know the character, you know the face. Now it's time to know the story. In his new memoir, Growing Up Urkel, that hits shelves this fall, you will find out more about the man, the myth, the legend, the Jaleel White, a.k.a. Urkel. And of course, right now you can get an autographed version at Growing Up Urkel, and in a bonus, you can get a Funko Pop autographed. And this could possibly be one of the greatest memoirs that wasn't written by Emmanuel Lewis. That's what I will say right now. But shout out to Jaleel White, of course, the sponsor of Weekly Purchases. And if you want to be the sponsor of Weekly Purchases, just hit me up. We can work something out. So a lot going on in Weekly Purchases this week. And shout out to Family Matters' own Jaleel White, living that life. Living that Urkel life, of course, as we do know. So that is, of course, a little housekeeping right there. And then a crazy thing that happened to me just today, I was getting gas down the street. Going off on a tangent again. Going to get gas down the street, and there's a guy standing on the corner. And usually they're kind of panhandling, stuff like that. But not this time. There was a guy doing a magic trick. It was just a wild thing. And he was like pulling like one of those strings and what are they, like handkerchiefs. There we go. He's just pulling it off. They're just going and going. And he's just standing on the corner doing that. He didn't have any pants on too, which was kind of strange, but he was just doing this, and that's what I was more in. I was like, how long is this thing gonna go? And how long is this stoplight gonna be? Can I get going? I don't know about this guy. Who knows what he's up to? But it was a wild magic trick, and I've never seen anything quite like it. And Mark Summers, you know a thing or two about magic, don't you? Oh, Mark Summers, of course, yes, Double Dare and Family Double Dare's own, among many other credits, of course. Mark Summers on the couch. Mark, what is the best magic trick that you have ever seen?
Magic trick I've ever seen was in 1967 at the Hotel Fort Des Moines in Des Moines, Iowa, at the 1967 International Brotherhood of Magicians Convention. There was a man by the name of Dunninger who was a mentalist. I don't know how he did it. He literally had somebody write on a piece of paper a 7-digit number, fold it over. He put his hand on top of the other person's hand who was holding onto the paper and told him what the 7-digit number was. How the hell did he do that?
Wow, Des Moines, Iowa, the Hotel Fort Des Moines. I have actually spent the night in the Hotel Fort Des Moines. Some say it's haunted. It was one of the first time I ever had oysters. I had way too many oysters there one time. That's a whole nother story, Mark Summers. That was a magic trick of its own, I think. No pearls in those oysters, though. But that's very interesting. And Mark, what? You have a magic trick? Mark Summers, of course, from Double Dare, Family Double Dare as well, and Unwrapped. We'll put that one in there as well. You have a magic trick that you want to show everybody. All right, roll it.
Okay, I started my career as a magician doing birthday parties, so let me see if I can recreate any of this. It's been a long time. Like you can do something like that, the world's fastest knot, we used to call it. Now, how about this one? Does it ever happen when you tie your shoes in the morning? Maybe this end comes through and you don't know about it, and then that end comes through and you don't know about it, and you go to untie your shoes and you get a big knot. Well, you know, here's what you have to do. It'll go off like that.
And oh man, Mark Summers on the couch. Talents never end. He's like a young Harry Houdini, but better. But better than Houdini. That's what I'll say. You can host, you can do one-man shows, you can unwrap things, you can sit on the couch, you can babysit some dogs, and you add magic to your resume. Salt of the earth. Mark Summers, all-timer. But that's it. That's the housekeeping for Weekly Purchases. Let's dive into the question of the week. All right, question of the week time, and I'm going to do 2 questions this week. Yes, you heard it right, 2 questions since I was kind of gone for a week. This one comes in from Dinman32. Who would you rank as the top 3 rock and roll musicians / bands to come from the great country, I believe, of Canada? And shout out to north of the border, shout out to Canada. There's really only 2 places in the world I really long to visit, and I don't even know if I'd say long, but I wouldn't mind going to, and it's Canada for whatever reason. Get me out to Calgary, or get me out to Ottawa, one of those kind of places. Either side, I'll go either way. But Canada I'd like to visit, and of course, shout out to all my friends out there in Australia. I need to get to Australia one of these days. I don't know why, but I feel like Australia just speaks to me for whatever reason. Need to get there one of these days. Who knows? Maybe if I didn't have to spend all this money on my Jeep and my floors this week. Oh my gosh, still getting me. But it is what it is. But who would I rank as the top 3 rock and roll musicians from Canada? Very interesting. Canada, it's like its own little different world up there. And long story short, very strange like laws up there in Canada where like in the radio stations and stuff, for like every American artist you play, you have to play like a Canadian artist, or for every 3, you have to play 1, something like that. So there's a lot of Canadian artists that really took off because of that law, which I guess makes it worthwhile to Canadian people and the government and everything. Gets them more money, gets more stuff going on in, of course, Canada. But there's a lot of people out there that you don't really think are from Canada, like Neil Young is one of them. I'm not putting him on the list, but a lot of people don't really think of him as Canadian, at least down in America. Maybe up in Canada they do, of course. But there's a lot of different Canadian bands I have enjoyed over the years. But I'm just trying to put a short list, and I think it says, would you rank as the top 3? And that's tough, because it's personal ranking. I mean, some people would say, of course, Nickelback. I guess that is the most famous musician or rock band, whatever you want to call it, from Canada. They've sold the most albums, that kind of stuff. Of course, bands like Tragically Hip, which don't do a whole lot for me. It didn't do anything for me. But I know in Canada they're worshipped like gods up there. Loverboy on tour with Sammy Hagar right now. They're from Canada, of course, a big band. A band I loved in the 90s when I was a kid, Thrush Hermit. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of them, but I really like them. I remember seeing them on Much Music. I used to get Much Music, of course, down here in the States, like a lot of people did. And they would play Thrush Hermit all the time. And I was like, man, this is good. I love some Thrush Hermit. But if I had to pick 3 bands that are pretty much the top level when I think Canadian rock, at least, of course, you got Rush. They're the Godfathers. They're easily number 1 for me. Shout out to Rush. One of the biggest regrets ever. I never saw Rush in concert. Passed on them twice, saying, they'll come back around. They'll come back around. And they never came back around. That's what happens. You got to see them while you can, for sure. Triumph, we're going to fight the good fight. Of course, Triumph would be number 2. One of those bands, everybody knows a bunch of the songs, but doesn't necessarily maybe know it's Triumph in this day and age. But Triumph, very underrated, but still very popular back in the 80s and stuff. And then another one, a deep cut, because they're a roller, it would have to be April Wine. April Wine, a good underrated band. Huge up in Canada, maybe not as big in the United States. Had a little bit of flirting with greatness in the 70s, but always enjoyed April Wine. So those are probably my 3 bands if I had to think of 3. Be interested to hear your top 3 Canadian bands. Maybe it's the Canadian band The Sword. Not Texas's The Sword, but the Canadian version of The Sword. Isn't Exciter from Canada too? I don't know, but there's a lot from Canada up there. Shout out to Canada here in this special question video. But now we're going to do one more. We're going to do one more question of the week, and this one comes from Brad630. Question of the week: do you use a script for your videos? And could that be a backhanded compliment or whatever they call those things? Kyle, is your video so bad because you use the script? Is that it? And well, guess what? I do not use a script. I have a couple of bullet points. Just a couple of bullet points. That's all I have. I just write down a little dash and thing, and I look at it, and I usually remember everything. So I just go through that. So it's all dashes and bullet points. When I give presentations at work, it's pretty much the same thing. Keeps you on pace, keeps you to know what you want to talk about, but it's all free-flowing. That's what it is. And I think if I had to have a script and I had to read a script or a teleprompter or something like that, it just wouldn't work for me. I just couldn't do it. I don't have the time to invest in the studying to do that, unfortunately. But it's more of a conversation between you and me. Yes, you, right there. You and me having a conversation, sitting here at this table. That's what it's about right here. One interesting thing, and I don't know if I've ever told this, and one of these days I've been thinking about doing a video where I'm going to film a video just of a review or whatever, just like this, but I'm going to have another camera over here, and it's going to be all no edits, and you'll see my editing, all that kind of stuff. You'll see the raw tape and then the official one. You'll get to see both versions of it to see what the difference are, and not really a whole lot of difference for the most part. We'll see. But I don't use a script, anything like that. One thing I do use, I have to see myself on screen. I can't talk. I know some people just have a camera set up and they can't see what they're doing. They're just talking to the camera. For whatever reason, I cannot do that. I have to be able to see myself while I'm talking. And it's like I'm talking to myself. That's what it's like. But no scripts here, just a little bullet points here to keep me on pace, especially during the toy news of the week. I have a million bullet points, and I just kind of go down the list, kind of eye it down, and we go from there. It's all kind of in my memory. So that's how I do it. I'm sure everybody else that has YouTube channels, things like that, they have a different process. But that's my process. Be interested to hear your process as well. So there it is. That's the questions of the week. And if you want to be the question of the week next week, hit me up in the comments down below. Put a question down there, and you too can be a question of the week. But now we got to get down to it. We got to get down to the weekly purchases. All right, let's get down to weekly purchases. Got 2 rounds this week of weekly purchases, and we're going to come in hot. Just found this on my toy hunt. Make sure you're checking out the toy hunt videos every single Friday. Found this at Target. We've got the Lucha Lowrider. Now, we saw this, gosh, was it San Diego Comic-Con 2023? We saw this for the first time, but here we are seeing this again right here. It comes with a Rey Mysterio figure. Very interesting, very, very interesting. But the Lucha Lowrider through the door this week. We'll unbox that on the channel, of course. And speaking of lowriders, well, not really, but vehicles you can ride, I did pick up Ghost Rider. So Ghost Rider, the new Marvel Legends with Cycle. When I think of Ghost Rider, this is really my Ghost Rider from my comic reading, collecting time frame way back in the day. So Ghost Rider coming in hot finally. It looks like Dark Phoenix is starting to hit as well, so we're going to have to be on the lookout for that one next. But we carry on. I, of course, Did finally find this one at my local Target. I don't know what the deal was, but Kaden Carter finally coming home. We can finally unbox her, and I got a huge amount of main event figures to unbox. Have to figure that one out, because first I got to get to something else. Via Ringside Collectibles, of course, use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. We got Siren herself. We got Becky Lynch, Elite Series 112. Becky Lynch, and she is, of course, the chase in the series. We got the return to the line, Bray Wyatt, looking only like a Bray Wyatt could look. We got Seth Rollins, no stranger to the line once again, title belt included. We also got first time in the line last time. We'll see what happens. Channing Stacks Lorenzo, straight off of NXT, of course. We got the Don previously, so we'll have to put those two together in our collection, of course. We got JD McDonough, first time in the line, definitely not last time in the line. Have to imagine we got a Judgment Day one right around the corner, so we'll wait for that as well. And then we do got a return to the line. Always feels weird having him without his brethren, of course, of the New Day. It is Xavier Woods by himself. So Xavier Woods in 112. So interesting 112. Of course, one of the FedEx packages I have lost was a ringside package where I ordered the Chase Becky Lynch. There's an Ultimate Warrior Vault figure in there, and I think something else. But of course, FedEx lost it. Should have been here 2 days ago. We'll see if I can hopefully get that for next week's weekly purchases. We'll see what ends up happening there. Did go to Walmart this week. Did find a Brody King, and everybody's looking for the key to Brody King's heart. We know how that goes with that big locket around his neck right there. But this is, of course, the Walmart exclusive. Found this just at a store. So Brody King coming home this week. And how about this one? This is one that flew under the radar for a while. I did finally pick this up off of eBay. It's an old school Elite. It goes back to, what series is this? Series 50. Yes, Series 50. Shane McMahon. Now, what's different with this one? Well, he has black hair. As the standard release, he had gray hair. So a little bit of a variant with this one that flew under the radar a little bit. Finally got around to picking this up off of eBay. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I'll probably unbox it on the channel one of these days. We'll see what happens. Have both versions standing side by side over there. But one of those variants that you just don't really hear anything about. And I even flew under my radar as well. So there's round one of weekly purchases. Now, let's get into round number two. Whoa, we'll stop the clock. Got two more for weekly purchases. Forgot these over in the pile. Two Ninja Turtle related ones. Got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Movie Edition Tatsu, Walmart exclusive, at least as of right now. Same thing with Battle Damaged Last Ronin, aka the Naked Turtle. Oh my gosh, he's full on nude. Watch out. But that's a quick whoa. Stop the clock. All right, time for round number two of weekly purchases, and I did have some discussion or some comments below saying, Kyle, what did you get from Hasbro and McFarlane? And Todd on the couch over there. They gave us some goodie bags out there at San Diego Comic-Con, part of their events. Of course, there was the Hasbro breakfast and, I don't know, happy hour McFarlane party, whatever you want to call it. Still, one of the best parties I've ever been to, Todd, so shout out to you. Salt of the earth, Todd McFarlane over there on the couch. But some of the stuff I didn't actually show last week. I showed some of it, but I didn't show all of it. Figured, okay, I'll get the rest out of here. Not super exciting, let's say that. But I did get this thing, Hydro Pods. Crab Aqua Armor. This was in the Hasbro thing. This is one of those things I gave to my kids, and my kids didn't even want it, but I'm going to make them. So you guys play with this. Figure out what it is. But I did get that. That was in the Hasbro bag. McFarlane. I might unbox one of these on 2.0, as I've never unboxed these little McFarlane figures. These would be great if I was a kid back in the day, and Kyle, we're going to Grandma's house, and Grandma was about a 4-hour drive, so this would be one of those great things. You had a bunch of these, you could play with them in the back seat as you're driving to Grandma's if you're a kid, but it is the Spawn Redeemer 2-pack. Like I said, we might unbox this one on the channel, see what happens, see what all the fuss is about, as they do say. I've got something else I've never seen. Avatar. Never seen any of the Avatar movies. Don't know anything about Avatar. I'm probably going to give this to my dad. So, Dad, you're going to love to have this in your collection. You can put it with your World of Warcraft collection, Dad. But we did get Avatar here. Not sure exactly what the World of Pandora is. Neytiri and Banshee. All Banshee. He left the X-Men and joined the Avatar world. That's most what happened right there. Only way I could explain it. But I did get that. Another thing, don't know anything about. The Legend of Vox Machina, Vexilin. Got this from McFarlane as well. So Todd really getting rid of some of his peg warmers is what he's doing. He's like, hey, we can get this and we can write it off at full price. That's what's going on right here. The Legend of Vox Machina, apparently on Amazon. So it is what it is. Once again, I have no idea. And then the final thing I got from the McFarlane thing, I already had this one, which isn't bad. Could be good for customs. Who knows? It is our boy The Rock as Black Adam. So I already have this one in my collection, but cool enough. I don't know who might want that, but we'll see what ends up happening. So I got some things like that. maybe for Toys for Tots this holiday season. I always got a little bin of stuff throughout the year. Probably going to end up throwing that stuff in there, which I always feel bad about. It's like Toys for Tots, these poor kids, Christmas morning, they're opening up, oh, the Legend of Vox Machina, and they don't even know what Vox Machina is. They don't have Amazon Prime. It's just like, what did I get this? What did I get? It's like almost more disappointing than not getting a present at all. I don't know. Maybe that's just my weird brain. I guess if I was a little kid, I'd just be happy to get a toy, especially if I was in those dire circumstances. So maybe I need to take a step back right there. But I always kind of think of that with Toys for Tots when people donate, 1,000 Bobby Lashley basics or whatever. It's like these kids don't even know about wrestling. They get all these basics, and maybe it's just me. Who knows? Who knows? But we're not done. We're getting to the home stretch right here. Headed over to Target. We unboxed them on the channel already. Mondo Gecko. Oh my gosh, this is a cool Mondo Gecko. Love the vibrant colors on this one. A great one from the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line. And the one I'm excited to jump into as well. The old Belly Buster. This is nightmare fuel is what this guy is right here. I'm here for it. Hitting Target stores right now, of course. Also is Leatherhead, Rat King, the Wrestling Turtle 4-pack. Hope to find some of that this week out there. We'll see what happens on the hunt. Should be a fun hunt week this week. I actually have a couple days off from work. Good friend of the channel, Jeff George, flying in. He's coming in. We're going to hang out. We're going to do some toy hunting. We're going to do some other stuff. Maybe even do a video or two. We'll see what ends up happening there. We're going to hit the fair. We're going to hit up Motley Crue. So there should be a lot of fun stuff from that. Should be a wild week. So shout out to Jeff. We'll see what ends up happening there. But we're not done with NECA. We're done with Turtles, but not NECA. We got the Ben Cooper collection. All those pesky Ben Cooper kids always hitting around. We got Phantom of the Opera, of course, hitting Target right now. We got the Devil, Satan himself. He's right here represented in kid form. And then we do get the Vampire Girl. Yeah, Vampire Girl. So we're collecting the Cooper kids. And there's so many of those Cooper kids. We already unboxed a couple of them on the channel. Now we got some more. This week, they made an announcement. They're doing like a Captain Spaulding, a Krampus, some of these other more modern ones. We saw at San Diego Comic-Con more of those Cooper kids as well, including the Stripe one, which I was as a very small kid. I got to dig up that picture. That'll be a very nostalgic unboxing, as it'll represent me trick-or-treating as a little kid. But these are pretty cool for $20. Nice, but boy, if you're collecting them all, it's going to add up really quick to be like $400 in Ben Cooper kids. And people are going to say, what are you doing with all these Ben Cooper kids? You running an orphanage over here? What are you doing, Kyle? We'll see what happens. But we're going to finish it off with a little DJC collectibles. Got these through the door via DJC. It is our old friend, the Ragman. Oh, he's ragging on everybody. We got the Ragman right there. We also got the Red Hood. Oh, watch out for the Red Hood. He's a dangerous one. And then we also got the Clock King. The Clock King, what is time? That's what's represented right here. Truly, the what is time collector right there. I do have a huge box from DJC Collectibles coming on, I believe, Tuesday. Tons of McFarlane in there. The brand new Sergeant Slaughter figure. Whole lot of other stuff. Got the Briscoe brothers coming next week. Got about 5 FedEx packages that are lost. So it should be an interesting weekly purchases next week. As I look around, I think I got it all. Got everything this week from weekly purchases. Not quite as big as last week, but big enough for my wallet, especially with some of the stuff that's going around the house I'm having to pay for. This is plenty right now. But there it is, another week of weekly purchases. Let me know your thoughts on the old weekly purchases. What are you excited for out of this mess? And more importantly, what did you pick up this week? What were your weekly purchases? Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, get your question together. You too could be question of the week next week if you want to. Put it in the comments down below once again as well. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend. We're marching to 50,000 subscribers, and then we can all retire. So let's get to 50,000. Let's call it quits at that point. That'll be the way to go. So Dangerously Close to 50,000. Tell a friend. Let's get those subscribers going. Don't forget about the other YouTube channel, Dangerously Close to 5,000 as well. How could we hit both at the same time? Can we hit 5,000 on that and 50,000 on this? We'll see what happens, maybe in a year or so. We'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. But make sure you subscribe to the channels. Check out the Patreon. Talked about that earlier. Link in the description down below. 2 giveaways this month. ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget my book, The Complete Guide to the Jakks Classic Superstars Series. Available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Check that out over there. Appreciate the support over there on the book. And Sir Paul64 on the X. _Kyle_Peterson on Threads and on Instagram. So there it is. Another version of weekly purchases in the books here. We'll see you guys next week. And you know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into a vacation week.